Well, here's a question that you may have asked yourself recently. Is it okay to spend money that you don't have? The answer is sometimes, yeah. Joining us today to talk more about this, money and business expert Derek Kinney, who also has some tips on how to make some smarter money decisions, especially when this question pops up, which it does, Derek.
It does a lot, and it's often that question that the spouse says, "You did what?" that
Yeah.
leads to that.
Yeah, and then you have to explain why you went ahead and made that decision without them, too. Let's talk about this, though. How do you decide if the purchase is worth making, especially if you know that you don't really have the funds for it right away?
Well, there's such a big movement in culture that says only pay cash for everything, and I actually disagree with that because sometimes opportunities require you to use OPM, which is other people's money. So here's an example. Let's say that there's somebody you really respect, great business knowledge, great acumen, people like you and I, Jason, for example, and we've got a product or an idea and we want people to invest. It's maybe an opportunity where somebody could say, I want to put a couple $1,000s into that, but I don't have it right now. That may be a chance to borrow it or take it from somewhere else because the opportunity is great, but you need to use other people's money to do it. And the bottom line is, ask yourself, am I using other people's money that's going to put me more in debt, or is there a greater chance to grow my wealth? And if there's that greater chance, it could be an opportunity for you to think about.
Yeah, I guess, like, for instance, if you can get a loan perhaps that is a very low rate loan, but you have the chance to make a much higher rate than that, then, you know, the math might make sense there. You have said, though, that you should identify how you're planning to pay for whatever it is that you're trying to pay for here. How do you decide that? What's the best way?
Well, this is how we take a lesson from Jason Bourne and all those movies. Whenever he does something, there's always this escape route it's like it's pre-scripted, Jason. And the bottom line is you want to have that same escape plan when you go to pay this money back and know, if I borrow this money, if I don't have it in my budget, what's my exit strategy? So that might be I'm going to pay it off over the next 12 months or 24 months or even 48 months. But have a plan ahead of time so that you know I may need to alter my budget a bit to accommodate paying this off at a quicker rate because I made a decision to do better financially with another investment.
Okay, Derek, that brings me to question number 3 here then, because I think a lot of us will think, well, I'll pay it back, you know, after the fact, but we don't put a time stamp on it like you just did there with the 12 or 24 or 36 months. Why is it important to have that timetable to actually pay that money back?
Well, the bottom line is nobody likes to pay for next year's Christmas years after that. You know, when you put a Christmas gift on a credit card and you're paying for your nephew's toy 3 Christmases from now, it robs the Christmas joy out of that. And so the bottom line is you want to say, look, if I'm going to do this and sort of leverage myself financially and borrow other money, I need to put pressure and a deadline on myself to say, I will have at least half of this paid off by X date or fully paid off by the end of the year. And then know that as you make future purchases, hey, this is coming due. I need to make sure I don't overextend myself, because the worst thing is you make what you think is a smart decision and then you end up making some dumb things that can cost you financially.
And I like how you say, and you're always talking about this, about kind of, you know, really thinking things through and kind of asking yourself some questions. And in this particular scenario, you say that you should be asking yourself, is this something I really need to do? Why do you say that?
Well, you know, let's say you go to Target or Home Goods and you go in there to buy the one item like we all do, and then you reach into temptation aisle where there's everything there from phone chargers to car scents, all kinds of things, and you end up paying for 5 items and you may wonder, did I really need that? And in most cases you don't, but sometimes when there's a deal, whether it's a piece of property or it's a course or something that could help you make more money in your career or your business, sometimes it makes sense to do that, but you've got to weigh the pros and the cons and also seek outside advice. If you're feeling emotionally charged, take 24 hours, ask people who know and care about you, and then trust their decision, and then take action. When you're in a calmer situation, maybe a glass of wine or a cup of coffee, after that's a better way to do it.
Okay, some good money advice this afternoon, as of course we would expect from you, Derek, but I think that it transfers to all kinds of things in life. We should probably be asking that question more often. Is this something I really need to do? Derek Kinney, he wrote the book, everybody. It's called Good Money Revolution. Derek, thanks as always for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Jason.